This is the HP Spectre, the newest, thinnest, not to be confused with the 2012 HP Envy Spectre one. And at a mere 10.4 millimeters, it is the thinnest notebook on the planet. Not that we're saying it couldn't still be sexy if it wasn't. Because on that note then, is thin the only factor when it comes to sex appeal? Or could the Spectre have weaknesses that lurk beneath its unblemished, glowing skin that overshadow its strengths? Let's find out. TunnelBear is the simple VPN app that makes it easy to browse privately and enjoy a more open internet. To try TunnelBear for free, check out the link in the video description. So the newest Spectre sports an aluminum and carbon fiber construction with a pleasing metallic brown? I mean, I don't know, there's probably a fancy lipstick word for this. And a shiny gold ghetto booty accent at the back that gives it a look that won't go particularly well with my sense of style, but that certainly hits the elegant and sophisticated mark, if that's what HP was aiming for. Simplicity is the name of the game here, and on top we find HP's redesigned logo. I did poke fun at it on Instagram, but I actually really like it, and not a whole lot else. On the bottom are the air intakes for the hyperbaric cooling system that HP has borrowed from Intel, and some non-slip feet. On the right side we find nothing. On the left side we find nothing. On the front, we find nothing but an indent for the one-finger operated and very stealthy hinge. And finally, around back, we're treated to an I/O selection that looks a lot more barren than it actually is. So far right is a headphone microphone combo jack. Far left is a Type-C connector that handles USB 3 5 gigabit connectivity and power input for the included 45-watt adapter. Then in the middle is where things get very interesting. These Type-C ports are both packing Thunderbolt 3 heat, meaning that they can drive 4K DisplayPort monitors, a daisy chain of up to 6 supported devices each, USB 3 10 gigabit per second, or they can actually act as alternate power inputs if you had a bulky device to plug in and wanted to put it over in the edge one. This is a lot better than the current generation MacBook and its wimpy single Type-C USB 5 gigabit connector that requires a hub or a dongle to plug in anything while charging. But I criticized Apple for sacrificing functionality to the thin and light gods, and while HP's sacrifice is not quite as extreme, they're not going to get away completely unscathed here. First though, let's talk hardware specs. Inside the Spectre's tiny frame, HP has managed to cram an Intel Core i5-6200U, so that's a hyper-threaded dual core at 2.3 to 2.8 GHz, 8 gigs of LPDDR3 memory, 256 gigs of PCIe storage, a 2x2 AC wireless solution, a 38 watt-hour lithium-ion hybrid battery, and 4 Bang & Olufsen approved speakers, with Core i7 models with up to 512 gigs of storage also available. And I have to give credit where credit is due here. While the Spectre might lose a bit of the premium feel that normally comes with using high-end materials like aluminum and carbon fiber, thanks to HP's mission to keep weight and thickness down to a minimum, it's obvious that tremendous care and attention went into the execution of this device. The screen is bright, beautiful, and rocking a very uniform IPS panel that lacks touch, but whose strong contrast performance makes it look better than the mere 1080p resolution would suggest, and I still believe 1080p is enough at 13 inches. The speakers, while not especially loud, manage their full range without any noticeable distortion and without causing unpleasant vibrations elsewhere in the chassis, a frequent problem with thin and light notebooks. And most surprisingly, the keyboard is a joy to use, with this satisfying stiffness at the top of the keystroke that makes the travel feel longer than it is. This is right up there with my favorite notebook keyboards from both a speed and accuracy perspective. Especially impressive considering the thickness of the device overall. But not all the news is great. The cooling solution works really well at room temperature, keeping the fan off in idle and light load conditions, and reasonably quiet even under full load. But in spite of the hyperbaric cooler, which by the way is just a fancy way of saying high static pressure intake fans versus the standard exhaust fan configuration, sitting in the bedroom of my non-air conditioned house, or going out into our warehouse on a 28°C day yielded some pretty unpleasant surface temperatures, even at idle in the default cool control fan profile, with the high performance one forcing the fairly whiny fans to work quite a bit harder. Even my Blade 14, not known as a particularly cool running device, was noticeably better in this regard. To be clear, this isn't a huge shot against it. I mean, the CPU is much faster than what you'd find in a MacBook and never thermal throttled in my testing, but if you live somewhere hot, it is something you should be aware of. As is the inclusion of McAfee Live Safe on the kind of low power machine that manages to sit between 5 and 10% CPU usage while idling at the desktop. Other than that, the bloatware installations were really not that bad. The webcam is super mediocre, something that I wish wasn't true of any device that's advertised as being for business use on a manufacturer's website. And the ClickPad, while gesture-enabled, frustrated me with its inability to register left clicks when you touch the very edge of the pad during two-handed operation. Though with that said, it has boatloads of customization options, and as long as your name isn't Linus Sebastian, you'll probably get it working just fine for you, as long as you don't mind the below average size. Which I guess draws us perfectly then into the conclusion. The last time I looked at a somethingest laptop in the world, it was the Gram, and I praised LG for finding a unique identity for their product and seeing it through, even if it meant some compromises that hurt usability. But what was different about what LG did was that instead of beating out the competition by a hair in a way that's not really noticeable day to day, while hurting the everyday convenience of the device, a single Type A port would have helped a lot here. They crushed the competition. I mean, the Gram is 10% lighter than even the Spectre, whose screen is 2 inches smaller diagonally, in a way that stands out much more to me than another thin and light, even though it's the thinnest one yet. With that said, HP's target customer is not me. That much was obvious from the moment that I wanted to plug in a mouse and a YubiKey for multi-factor authentication and needed to search high and low for another adapter separate from the one that they, helpfully by the way, do include in the box. But while it would be easy for me then to say, well, just buy the Razer Blade Stealth, that makes a lot more sense. I mean, if I'm carrying a laptop already, what's another 2mm for higher performance, a touchscreen, and a more premium feel? The Stealth also completely misses the style mark for the young professional demographic that HP appears to be targeting with the Spectre. And that's something that I think they nailed. So if you're a yuppie or a yucky or whatever it is that they call them these days, and it's between this and a MacBook, I'd say take the Spectre for sure. And you know what else I'd take for sure? A look at massdrop.com. They've got all kinds of great deals, and the principle is pretty simple. Massdrop has this massive community of people who want to buy cool stuff, but don't want to pay full price. And they've got great connections with authorized distributors and directly with manufacturers who want to sell stuff to those people. So they bring them together, they go, hey, we got a bunch of people who want to buy it, can you lower the price? They go, hey, we got a lower price, y'all want to buy it? Everybody freaking wins. And they've even gone a step further beyond that very successful formula and collaborated with certain manufacturers to create mass drop edition products. And the one that we're highlighting today is the K7XX Mass Drop Edition headphones from AKG. Now, if you're not familiar with that particular headphone, it's the same as the K7XX that I checked out in my video, which you can look at up here. But in a nutshell, they were configured by Massdrop and manufactured by AKG. They're open-backed headphones with large cushiony ear cups, genuine leather on the headbands, and memory foam ear pads with velour covering. They've got a 2-year warranty, which is covered by Massdrop, and you can order from anywhere. But a $25 fee will be assessed on international orders. Still a pretty darn good deal though. Check it out at the link in the video description. Thanks for watching, guys. If this video sucked, you know what to do. But if it was awesome, get subscribed, hit that like button, or check out the link to where to buy the stuff we featured at Amazon in the video description. Also linked in the description is our merch store, which has cool shirts like this one, and our community forum, which you should totally join. Go join now, it's awesome. Now that you're done doing all that stuff, you're probably wondering what to watch next, so click that little button in the top right corner to check out our latest video over on channel Superfun.